Okay, officially morning all after that trade and throwing off my day and all that. What's that all about? But yeah, so while Jake Allen is now a member of the Habs, and there's already a video on the channel about that, uh, Bill Zito has been hired by the Florida Panthers. That's official as of today. So there's already a video on the channel about that as well. So let's move on with other news today. Game 6 tonight, of course, between Dallas and Colorado. I didn't feel the need to have the big Western Conference, Eastern Conference, and all that. We're down to just a few series. So I feel like I can free up a lot more of the board and just turn these into basically news of the day videos from here going forward. Dallas, of course, up 3-2. I know Rick Bowness has to say he's not sure which goaltender he goes with. But as a Stars fan, if he doesn't go with Hudobin tonight, I'm gonna have some serious questions. I love Ben Bishop. I think Bishop's a fantastic goalie, but Hudobin got them here. Hudobin needs to be the guy, and Bishop wasn't ready in that last game, and I'm aware that the Dallas Stars got off to a miserable start in that game, and the whole team played poorly. Then Hudobin went into the net, and he only allowed 2 goals on 22 shots after going in. So Hudobin's numbers were stronger, and we're at that stage where it's not do or die, but it should be. I'm aware they have another loss to give, but then you're in a Game 7 situation, and it's a coin flip. For Colorado, they're not saying whether or not Francouz will be available tonight. They're just saying that Grubauer is definitely not. So at the time that I'm recording this, I would imagine Hutchinson's starting, but it's possible it'll be Francouz. But Hutchinson played okay in that last game, so maybe give Hutchinson the start. It'll be interesting to see what they do. Steven Stamkos, for Tampa Bay fans who are probably going, oh, right, yeah, he's on our team. He hasn't played yet, has he? Understandable that you guys are still kind of on cloud 9 over the defeat of Boston and all that. But Stamkos could very well see the ice for the next round. He could come back. And the fact that, you have a Tampa Bay team that's had some bumps and bruises along the way, and now they're getting a few days off thanks to Philadelphia and the Islanders, this is coming at a very good time for them, where defensemen who are probably a bit of a walking wounded bunch right now, like Hedman and McDonough especially, they get a couple of days off here, heal up a little bit. And so Tampa Bay, they last went to the Stanley Cup Finals in 2015. They could be headed back again in 2020. And maybe they're set to win their first Stanley Cup since 2004. And then we can take a look at the comparisons between this Tampa Bay team and the Detroit Red Wings, who the year after they set a record in wins and points and all this wonderful stuff, and then failed spectacularly, that they won the Stanley Cup the following year. So that's definitely something that if Tampa does end up being that team that wins the Stanley Cup, we can take a look and make comparisons between those two franchises. Couturier's status is unknown for tomorrow. That shouldn't really be a surprise to anybody at this point. GMs aren't really wanting to give us all this information on who's going to play and who's not to. Coaches aren't wanting to give us that information either, and the NHL is just saying unfit to play or not at game time. So Couturier, if he's out, that's a huge problem for the Flyers. I understand they won last night, but that's still a huge problem. Barzal is still an uncertainty as well. From what I saw with Barzal, I would think stitches, and then maybe he wears a cage for the next game. And I would think he can probably play, but I don't know the extent of the injury and all that, so we'll see. But it didn't look to me at the time like something that necessarily holds him out of the next game, just something that he definitely wouldn't have returned to last night's game, but he might be ready to go for tomorrow. And as I said, the Zito hiring is official. I like the hiring a lot. I think Florida has made a good decision there. We'll see what good decisions they can make in the offseason regarding their forward group, their defense, and all that wonderful stuff. Here's some interesting news today when it comes to hirings as well, and with the Jake Allen trade, this might get buried. I'm not going to let it happen. Todd Reirden's hired. Todd Reirden. And Mike Vellucci. Now, all apologies to Mike Vellucci, but the big name on the board here is Todd Reirden because he's been hired as an assistant coach by the Penguins a week after the Flyers say, you're out as our head coach. The Penguins pick him up to be their assistant. There's been a trade-off between these two franchises for a while. And so here we're seeing it again, where the Capitals and the Penguins, that familiarity they have with each other, they get players that played with the other team and now a coach. So Todd Reirden didn't stay out of work for very long, did he? And Justin Schultz, Jim Rutherford's indicated they will not be bringing Schultz back. Schultz will be going to the unrestricted free agent market. He's probably going to end up taking a pay cut next season, I would think, with the amount of teams that are going to be under the cap crunch. And yeah, we'll see where he goes and how Pittsburgh's blue line looks next year. They got to change it, so we'll see what happens. The Coyotes, apparently they're still making pitches to keep Hall, and apparently they haven't given up. And for Hall, he's got about, 5-6 weeks left to figure this out, and then we're going to be into free agency here. Depending on what they do with the date. I know the date's supposed to be November 1st, but if you get the draft done early enough, do you maybe bump that up a bit, and then we'll see. But between now and November 1st at the latest, the Coyotes apparently are going to be making pitches to Hall to keep him around. I don't know how they're going to do it. They don't have cap space. They are, they're really up against it, the Coyotes. I don't know how they're going to make it work. No clue. None. Austin Wagner signs a 3-year extension with the Kings. Carl Grundstrom signs a 2-year extension as well with the Kings yesterday. They were both going to be restricted free agents. Austin Wagner impressed me this year. I think the work ethic is there. I think there might be some offensive upside there. Grundstrom, similar. And again, Wagner's the more physical, obviously, of the two. But, I like both players. I like what the Kings are doing. I got to be honest. That's kind of why I'm wearing the Ontario Reign here. Because Grundstrom may very well see time with the Reign next season. We'll see what happens with the Kings and how deep they are next season. But I like what they're doing. I think there's a plan in place. And I think it's one that should bring them some success as soon as maybe next year. Maybe. I'm just saying maybe next year we'll see some measure of success for the Kings. Now, speaking of cap and all of that, and signings and all of that, Cap Friendly has 13 teams carrying cap overages into next season. So this is one of those things that for newer fans, they might be saying, huh? So you get your signing bonus, and that automatically factors into the cap. But you get performance bonuses. So, as a for instance, if Vancouver completes the 3-1 comeback against Vegas, if Vancouver wins the Stanley Cup, and Elias Pettersson wins the Conn Smythe, that'd be $2 million. That $2 million gets added to next year's cap. So right now, the top 3 teams for overage bonuses, Dallas, Boston, and Vancouver. I can't make this up. Dallas, $2.9 million in bonuses thus far. And if Dallas were to win the Stanley Cup and Heiskanen won the Conn Smythe, which he probably would right now if Dallas won the Stanley Cup, he gets a hefty performance bonus for that, and it would add to that $2.9 million in bonus cap being carried over into next year. Boston, $1.9 million, and as I said, it's $1.7 million to Vancouver, which would become $3.7 million if Pettersson were to win the Conn Smythe, which would be perfectly fine. Vancouver fans everywhere would not care at all because Conn Smythe means you've won the Stanley Cup. But because of the flat cap, because of the shortened season, they've modified it so that teams can spread that out over 2 years. So Dallas could make it $1.5 million this coming season and $1.5 million the year after. And there's still some bonus money left to be decided with certain players if they make the all-rookie team, for instance. But teams do have a flexibility with the cap overages because of everything else that's going on around us. And so they don't have to worry too much about that. But again, for Vancouver, it is good news being able to spread things out over a couple years because there's a lot of cap space being eaten up by players that aren't on Vancouver, and you got your buyouts and stuff and your buried money and all that. So anyways, it is some cap relief for teams that are going to need it. And there are a lot of teams that are definitely going to need some cap relief. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section below regarding any of these news items of the day. And I'm sure we'll see some more trades and moves being done and signings being done over the next couple of weeks as we get closer to A, the Stanley Cup being awarded, and B, the draft. The draft is getting closer and closer, and it's going to be interesting to see what teams' plans are going into and coming out of the draft. Let me know your thoughts. Hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happened upon this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, for all your support. Pretty close to 160,000 subscribers. And thank you to each and every person who has hit both like and subscribe. It's appreciated. I will talk to you again soon.